All right, hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're talking about marketing strategies that actually work. We're going to go through about 5 of them, and I think I'm going to give you what the strategies are and an explanation about why they work and how they work and things like that. I think this video will be really helpful for you, giving you practical and actionable things to do and work on rather than just generic things, right? So hopefully this is helpful. All about marketing and growing your caseload today. I know this is something people are always wanting to know more about. And if you've never been here before, the whole kind of idea behind this channel is not to gatekeep and to provide as much information to you as possible and accessible so that you can do what you need to grow your practice, run the practice you want. The other thing is I don't want to waste time on intros, and I feel like I'm doing that right now. So let's actually just jump in, and as always, we're going to do just a really simple screen share here. And these are the 5 things we're going to talk about. No surprises here, all right? But what might be new is how I'm going to explain it and what I'm going to share in terms of the details. So the first thing that I have on here in terms of a strategy is meta ads. Formerly known probably as Facebook ads or Instagram ads. But meta ads are usually written off by different therapists, or it's usually not the first kind of ad people are thinking about, paid ad service. People are typically thinking about Google ads. Now, a couple reasons for that. Number one is Facebook or Meta. This is not where people are going to search for a therapist, right? People are not going on Facebook hoping to find a therapist. They're usually on Facebook to connect with friends or family or just to scroll, right? And so that's why a lot of people they write it off. But that being said, it can be really valuable. Now, Google ads, on the other hand, right, this is where people usually are searching for a therapist, right? So you might type in DBT therapist near me or whatever. I'm recording, good. DBT therapist near me or something like that. And so at the core of it, what we have is Google ads, which tend to convert better. I put quotes on there because, you know, I'm going to be a proponent of Facebook ads today. But for Google ads, this is where you'll typically see higher conversions because people are going there to find a therapist. I think I said that enough. Facebook, people might be scrolling and then happen to come across an ad about therapy and they're like, oh yeah, that resonates with me, or oh, that's something I should do, and then they might reach out. So conversions, meaning people who become active clients, might not be as high on Facebook. Now that is what people typically think, and that is why they're written off. Now, Facebook ads though, here's really where they are good, or Meta, I should say. They are, number one, very cost efficient in comparison to Google ads. Google ads, you can pay a ton of money per click, right? And then on Facebook ads, you're typically getting way more clicks for a lot less money than you are on Google. For example, I'm just kind of off the top of my head here. You might run a Google ad, right? And you could end up paying, depending on where you're located, $15 a click, $7 a click, $20 a click. On Facebook, you might end up paying $1, $2, right? And the more clicks, typically, this is not always true, but the more clicks, the better, right? The more eyeballs on our service. And that being said, even if our conversions aren't high right away, we do get the brand awareness or the awareness about our practice. I ran Facebook ads for a while. I'm running them now, but I remember I launched a few back in January, and the conversions from Facebook that month were not as high, but the referrals were high, the leads that came in were high, and then I also noticed there was a much larger word of mouth referral that did become conversions. And this is probably because more people were seeing the practice, more people knew it existed because it was on Facebook and people were seeing that and most likely sharing family and friends, word of mouth, that kind of thing. So just because it doesn't have the conversions right away doesn't mean it's not valuable. So I always encourage people to try out meta ads. The risk is much lower. And even if you have a budget of $5 a day or $10 a day, or less, you can at least have an ad humming in the background for a small cost that will at the very least increase brand awareness and perhaps word of mouth referrals. So I think meta ads are a very valuable source for lead generation and marketing that is often not talked about in the therapy space. If you're looking for someone to help you do these ads, run these ads for you, I am now offering services like that. You can reach out to me, book a free call. I'll talk to you about what I do. The link is down below in the description. Number 2 is what I call pipeline management. And I also have this like horribly written what is that, a slash, call, and then calling right after people reach out. So let me focus on pipeline management. Many therapists lack a CRM or a pipeline, essentially a place where your leads or people who are potential clients can live. And this is really important. Now, a lot of therapists will say, well, I don't have many referrals, a couple a month, or, I don't have enough to have a CRM and extra software. But over time, your referrals will increase, hopefully, right? That's what we're all working towards. And we end up compiling basically a database of potentially interested clients. And this is a really valuable thing to have over time. Not to mention, when we have a pipeline, it's really organized. So for example, we might have a slot for clients who called us, a slot for clients who had a free consultation, a slot for clients who are active users or active clients, right? And what we can do in the pipeline is we can then reach out to clients in a really effective way. So let's say everyone who scheduled a free consult but didn't become a client or didn't schedule an intake, we spend a couple minutes calling everyone in that part of the pipeline, right? And you can see how effective that would be. Or maybe we are able to, every Friday, follow up with people who fell through the cracks. And in the software I'm using, the CRM I'm using, I'm able to call and text right from that platform. So, every Friday or whenever I have a chance, I'll hop into the pipeline, I'll see where people are at, and I'll call and text right from there. And pipeline management has been huge for my practice. I don't want to undermine this at all. I mean, it has been absolutely, it's one of the best things that we've invested in, is not only the software that has the pipeline, but also the management of that pipeline. Again, that is also something I'm offering as part of my marketing service, is this software and the pipeline. Again, if you're interested, we can chat more, link down below in the description. And the caveat is calling right after people reach out, right? So I found that the quicker we can reach out to a client after they reach out to us, the better it is. If you think about a plumber, for example, if you called a plumber to help fix a pipe and they don't answer the phone, you're going right to the next one. So we want to be really quick at responding, whether that be email, call, text, whatever it is. And the other really cool thing about the pipeline, the software I'm talking about, is that you can create customized automations. So when someone comes into our practice or they fill out a form on our website, we have a text and an email that goes out right away. I could even turn that into a phone call that goes out right away and connects me to them. But the point is, I'm able to make sure that when someone reaches out to us, something goes out right away that gives them an option to book, answers FAQs, things like that. So pipeline management, calling people right away, really, really big, and I think could really make a big impact in your marketing. Number 3 is this, it's not an idea, it's a thing. Google My Business. This is a free directory you can sign up for. People talk about it a lot, but sometimes people hit roadblocks or they struggle to get signed up. But having a Google My Business, and people use this term optimized like it's super complex. You essentially want to create the Google My Business properly with all the, the right address, the right phone number, all that kind of thing. And you want to make sure that the field, the different offerings that are on there, or the fields that are available, whether it be the services you offer, or the products, that it's all completed well with SEO, basically with the services that you offer, right? So, and the right wording. So if you're doing DBT, you're going to DBT therapy, right? You want to make sure that what people are searching for and what you offer kind of match up on that profile in terms of the wording. Now we can get more specific with that. We can come up with all sorts of strategies for that and the copy we have. Again, I can help with that as well. Book that free call down below. But at least having the Google My Business is going to help you be seen. And that is a free listing on Google that you should absolutely sign up for. I also have here ongoing posting. So a lot of people don't know this, and they actually might get rid of it soon. But with a Google My Business, you can post different posts, right? So yeah, it's almost like posting on Facebook or something. So you can post, and I encourage people to post regularly. It's not a big, it's usually a link to something or whatever the case. It's not a massive commitment to post there, but it indicates to Google that you are active and your business is running, right? The other thing, and this is a bit of a bonus that's not on here, is something called the NAP, the name, address, phone number. You want to make sure that your name, address, and phone number match everywhere you are on the internet. Your website, Google My Business, Psychology Today, whatever it is, you want to make sure your NAP matches everywhere. So if that's something you haven't done before, make sure you do that. Again, indicating to Google the consistencies, that you're an active business, that you're legitimate. These are signals that really help out. Okay, number 4, another thing that's not talked about a lot, this idea of service pages / landing pages. There's a difference here. I'll explain in a second. I also put coupled with correct placement. So so if you think about an SEO strategy, and I will make this quick, this is not a video about SEO, but SEO strategies, right? Essentially what we're trying to do is show up on Google rankings, or number 1 or number 2, somewhere on the top page. That being said, SEO is really changing with AI, and it might not be a thing for very much longer, although it's still a worthwhile endeavor right now. That is going to change, so definitely keep your eyes peeled for SEO changes and things like that. But historically what we want our service pages. So you have a website, right, which would be a home page, and then hopefully if your website's done well, our home page is kind of the main hub, but then we have service pages or specialty pages, which are pages for specific services that we offer. So if we do ADHD therapy, we want a service page about that. If we do DBT, we want a service page about that, so on and so forth. And essentially what we want is we want that service page to begin ranking on Google. And that service page is really specific. So when someone searches ADHD therapy near me, you want that service page about ADHD to pop up. And there's all sorts of strategies to help make that happen. So on one hand, a lot of therapists are overlooking the whole concept of service pages or specialty pages, and I think people need to know more about that. The other one is called a landing page. Now there's a bit of a similarity here. A landing page is also going to be specific and about a particular specialty or service you offer. So if you do ADHD, that could also be a landing page. A landing page is typically more brief and has clearer calls to action. So a call to action is something like book or call or schedule with me. And it's usually written in a way that is concise. Maybe there's bullet points and things like that. And essentially a landing page usually gets attached to something like an ad, a Facebook ad, a Google ad, because presumably someone is on the internet looking for a service, ready to book a call or set up therapy. And then that landing page, it's supposed to speak right to them based on that ad. A service page is a little bit more wordy, a little bit more information packed, more for SEO. A landing page, not so much, more for the ads. But I found that if we have good landing pages or service pages or both, we're able to share those even when we're networking, right? We can place a QR code on a business card about ADHD and hand that out to different practitioners who specialize in ADHD. So our specialty pages not only live on the internet for SEO and ads, but if you're networking, you can then give someone the link to your specialty page, right? Rather than your home page, which tends to confuse people, believe it or not. People want to go to a page about exactly what they're looking for. They don't want to be looking for ADHD and end up on your homepage, which says that you do ADHD, DBT, CBT, everything, and then why am I there? So specialty pages, landing pages, absolutely crucial, and the placement of those also crucial. This is also something I offer helping people with and doing things, service pages and more so landing pages, doing them with you and for you. Again, reach out and we'll talk more about that. And then finally, this is one that I see getting written off a lot because it doesn't produce immediate results, but this is cold outreach and ISO follow-ups. Honestly, you should slot out time every week, whether it be half an hour, an hour, and respond to as many in search of requests. You'll notice these are on Alma community boards. You'll notice these on Facebook. And ISO is an in search of. So people will say, I'm looking for a therapy referral for XYZ. You might get 20 people who commented and you write it off, or, oh, I'm not going to get chosen. It doesn't matter if you get chosen or not. Your profile is getting put out there, right? Your word of mouth might increase from that. And over time, people will actually see it. They will respond. It's been very effective for our practice. It's a good long-term strategy. And what makes it even stronger is if we are attaching a landing page to it. So someone says, I'm looking for a therapist who specializes in ADHD. Rather than sending your link to your homepage, we send a link to our landing page or our specialty page, which should speak right to that client's issue and hopefully increase your chances of being chosen. That being said, though, the more we put our business out there, the more likely it is we're going to get leads. It does work really well. So if you have extra time and you want a low-hanging fruit strategy, this is a really good one to go for. Okay. Anyway, these are the 5 strategies, and we're not limited to 5, but these are 5 people don't talk about too much. I think would really, really help you out and help out your business and your practice. If you do some of these, your practice will absolutely grow. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope you learned something, and until next time, I will see you in the next video.